Welcome back. Shelby Bolo joining us from Abbott Wealth Management on this Wednesday afternoon. Welcome back to the show.
Thank you for having me.
Yes, and we're doing a great topic today, sort of in keeping with a segment that we did last week with John Van Limbeek about wills and the importance of having and what you should include. This deals with our segment today about choosing the right executor for your will. It's hugely important, and Shelby's going to tell us a little bit more about that.
Yeah, and I think most people probably know what an executor is, but they are the person that's in charge of settling your estate when you pass away. So there's a lot of things that go into that situation. They have a lot of responsibilities, and it can take a long time for them. So you want to make sure you're listing the right person and that person knows that they're listed.
Right.
Because if they don't, you're putting a lot of stuff on someone.
Right. Should we get right into the slides to assist your points, or where do you want to start?
Yeah, well, before we do that, I was going to say, do you know how many professionals an executor comes in contact with when they are settling an estate?
No.
So we can show the next slide.
Okay.
17.
Whoa.
So, but if you think about it, they're having to see life insurance agents, bankers, lawyers, funeral directors. So there is so many professionals that they're coming in contact with as they're going through that process.
So it's many hours of commitment for an executor to finish up your details for you.
Exactly.
Huge time considerations.
Especially if the will is going through probate, then that goes through a lawyer, and I've seen that take up to a year. I mean, everyone's different, but it can happen.
Sure.
And one statistic that was interesting is that there is 1,019 people turning age 65 every day in Canada.
So there's our population is aging, but never more rapidly than it is right now.
Which means we're naming probably more and more executors.
Sure. Yeah.
Yeah. And if we look at the second slide, it kind of shows what people's intentions are. So 43% of people haven't given any thought to their will and what they're leaving behind.
That's a lot.
Yes, and it's an unrealistic expectation. Some people think they're going to leave nothing, which is going to lead me to my next slide. That's very unrealistic, because even if you spend all of your retirement money, it's just not possible to leave nothing behind. This slide shows the average weighted home equity of Canadians 65 plus is $284K, and that is a net of debt. Okay. And then you have to think about your car is worth value, your home is worth a value, your business, which I think most people probably have a will if they have a business. But then you have your jewelry, any kind of collectibles. So no matter what, you're most likely going to leave something behind.
Sure.
So to think you're leaving nothing is a little bit unrealistic.
Okay, good to know. It's good to think about that. You think, oh, I don't have kids, it doesn't matter. It certainly does.
Yeah, absolutely it does. And then the next slide that I have here is just, I kind of thought it was interesting, what Canadians expect their retirement income sources to be. Right. And of course, lottery winnings is on there.
I'm in there.
It always
I'm part of that 5%.
It'd be really nice.
It would be.
But I think that, you know, it's just so important that we make sure that we have the proper executor in place and a will done correctly, because, which is going to lead me to my next slide, things aren't the way they used to be a long time ago. So if you look at the top, that was our nuclear family. So, you know, you had a mom, a dad, and a brother. Now it's an extended family. So there's a lot of blended marriages, stepchildren, and that kind of thing. So it is important that you update your will. You know, some people have multiple marriages, so it is important to update it for every single marriage. Yeah, things just definitely are changing.
Absolutely.
So it's even more important than ever, I think, to update those.
Yeah, for sure.
And then just to give people an idea, the next slide is going to show all of the different assets someone can hold. So again, back in the day, things were a bit different. There wasn't as many investment options for people to have, and that's just some of them. And that's a huge list that people are having to deal with. And the other thing is I mean, those are a list of different things offered, but they can be in a tax-free savings account, an RSP, a RIF, a non-registered account. So every single one of those accounts has different settlement requirements. So that executor is having to fill out claimant statements for every single account, which again, going back to the nuclear family, it is so important that on registered assets like your RSP and your TFSA, that you are listing named beneficiaries, because that actually bypasses the estate and it doesn't go through your will or anything like that.
Okay.
So
okay.
you save on fees there.
Lots of things to think about.
Absolutely.
Okay.
And then we'll finish with the last slide.
Okay.
These are interesting. So estimated Canadians without an up-to-date will, 70% of people. Assets that are going to be going over to the next generation, 1.5 trillion. So when you think 70% of people don't have updated wills, that's a pretty scary number. And then percentage, 14.8 million Canadians are intending to appoint a family member.
Is that a bad call?
No, it is a good call as long as you tell them. And as long as they mean that they know where your assets are. Some people don't even know who their parent's financial advisor is. So that's going to create problems. And then they'll go through their old paperwork that their parents have kept because they don't know what to throw out or not throw out. And sometimes it looks like they have an account that they don't have.
Right.
So then there's a lot of guesswork for the executor. So, I mean, include your executor, let them know who they are, have them meet your financial advisor, you know, before something is to happen to you. So they are in the loop, they know where all your money is, and they know exactly what you want to happen with your estate and your will. And lastly, you can see that executors are already having administrative complications, 47%, emotional issues, 31%, and legal issues, 26%. So it is a lot of stress to be an executor.
So pick wisely, make sure they are on the up and up, so if something happens to you unexpectedly, they know where to start. They know what to expect. Great advice today, Shelby. Thank you for being here.
Thanks for having me.
Very welcome. Information on the screen, abbottwealth.com. We're back in 2 minutes. Stay with us.